All right, there we go. So what we're looking at oops, I didn't actually update this, so we'll skip that. We're not going to talk about the agenda, but basically I'm taking you through drawings, and this is the icon for drawings. So it's red, it has a square with a circle over it, and you'll see variations of that. I'm also going to talk a little bit about something called AutoDraw. Has anyone used AutoDraw? I see the lady shaking her head. Anybody else?
Not at all.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to play with it today. It is actually really a game. What you will be able to do after today is locate Google Drawings and develop some activities using Google Drawings. So we're going to look at some examples to give you a sense of things you can do there, and then try out a task together. Okay. So first of all, this is what Google Drawings looks like. How do you think we get to Google Drawings? Can anyone tell us how they would get there? How do you get to most things? Everyone has their own way, but if you tell us at least one way.
Through the stack.
So if I'm looking at let me pull up a drive.
Drive.
So I'm looking at my drive. How would I get to Google Drawings in my drive, do you think? What would be one of your guesses?
New.
New, exactly. If I click on new, oh, but it's not there.
You have to go down to more.
Go down to more, exactly. So there's Google Drawings for us. Okay, so that's one way to get there. What's another way that you might get there?
The waffle.
The waffle, right? So if I click on the waffle here, I might find it. I might have to scroll down. Well, it might be hard to find it, actually. So Google Drawing is funny because it's been around for a really long time. And when you look for how-to videos and ideas, it was like 5 years ago or so that you see a lot of stuff was coming out. And so it's kind of disappearing. I didn't see anything that said it was going away altogether, but you can see, as we look at the stuff today, you'll see that things you can do with Google Drawing, you can do with other tools. I don't know if there's a tool that can do all the things that drawing does, but you certainly probably are doing some of the things, maybe using slides, maybe using Canva, maybe using Jamboard, and drawings kind of pulls it all together. So I don't actually see it in my waffle, which is interesting. We still have that one shortcut that we have where if we type into our Omnibox drawings.google.com, it'll pull up a drawing. What's interesting, the slight difference here is it went straight to a drawing, where if you remember, if we do this with docs.google.com, it'll actually take you to all of your docs. Or if you put sheets.google.com, it would show you all your sheets and you would just click new. For some reason with drawing, it just creates a new, I'm calling these canvases, so a new canvas. What do you notice about this canvas immediately? What's something that stands out to you?
It's got like a grid or a herringbone or something.
Yeah, like a little gray squares and white squares. Have you seen that before anywhere?
I haven't.
No, it's that. Yes, the background. It's the transparent background.
And what's special about a background that's got this checkerboard on it usually, Lori?
Supposed to be transparent?
It's supposed to be transparent. So and I like you said supposed to, because sometimes
sometimes it doesn't. It just shows up.
Exactly. So if you were doing a Google search for an image, right? So say I was going to look for an ice cream cone, and I wanted, let's go to images first, and then all of these pictures, we don't quite know what the backgrounds are, but we're guessing they come with a background. And then I only want to have transparent backgrounds. I have this option of tools, and then under color, I can say transparent. And you'll see, if I click on one of these, maybe we'll see if it's true. Yeah, you'll see that you get that checkerboard behind it. Now, just like Lori said, sometimes when I copy and paste that, I get all of that checkerboard. Sometimes I don't. So let's see what would happen right now if I click this and I copy it, put it into my slides on a yellow background. that one is transparent to the background, right? But sometimes you'll get that white box, and I don't know why. I sometimes download and upload and that works, but I don't know why. Maybe, does anybody else know why sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't? Anyway, we'll get rid of that. Okay, so that tells you something, right? If that's a transparent background, then anything I create on here can have a transparent background. And the activity we're going to do today is to make a logo, because logos often you want to have that transparent background so you can place your logo on top of other colors and it works. So that's, first of all, something good to know, that you have a transparent background there. Some ideas of what people have used Google Drawings for. So you have that blank canvas. If we look at that again, you'll see, I mean, you know, these tabs across the top kind of, I think those are probably very similar to what we see when we look at the tabs across the top of slides, right? We've seen that before, that actually if you compare Google Docs, Google Slides, Google Sheets, these tabs are kind of similar. There's usually one or two that are specific to that particular function for that particular tool. But we have actually just a few tabs here. So we have File, Edit, View, Insert, Format, Arrange, Tools, Help. Pretty similar, right? File, Edit, View, Insert, Format, Slide, Arrange, Tools, Extensions. So extensions and slide are different, but we have Arrange, right? So we have very similar things. We have, what do we call this thing with all these little symbols on it?
Toolbar?
Yeah, you could call it a toolbar. I call it a ribbon. And
Ribbon.
I don't, that term kind of, the newest version of Microsoft has this, Google has this, where they've kind of pulled out all of the tools they think you're going to use the most, right? So, and you'll notice with slides, for example, if I'm typing something and it's a word, what we call that, text box, a text box, that's what my ribbon looks like. Whereas if I'm looking at an image, I get a different ribbon. And that's important to point out to people because they get confused, right? Like, what? I know I saw that in the ribbon before, now it's gone. Well, if it's an image, you have a different ribbon than if you are in text, right? And I think we'll see the same in this case. I have an image that I've imported and put onto my drawing canvas. And if I click on that, sure enough, my ribbon changes a little bit. So I get some new tools I can use. In our slides, I kind of, let's see, I did a screenshot of. So these two are what you get, I think, with when you're typing in Word, and this is the one you get when you are dealing with an image, and they change up. And then we call these our tabs across the top, and under each tab, you have a long list of things that is greater than what you see in the ribbon. Let's go back to our, so we have our blank screen. We understand that this means that it might be invisible. What do you think this little thing down here in the corner means? Let's go to the real one and see. So down here, right at that corner, what happens with my cursor when I scroll over that? I don't know if you can see it.
No.
So my cursor is an arrow, but when I scroll over the corner, I get a two-way arrow.
Yeah.
What does that usually
Well,
mean?
You can take off that transparency
Well,
background.
let's try it out. Let's see what happens. If I go down there and I get that two-way arrow and I move it, oh, it makes it smaller, right? So this is a
Okay.
quick way to change the size of my canvas. I can do that also under, I think under File. Yeah, you could do it under Page Setup if you wanted to give very specific dimensions. You really can't get rid of this checkered background, but you could put something on top of it. You could put a big white box on top of it, and then that would be no longer transparent. So that's kind of how you do with the transparency. But this two-way arrow thing is good to remember, because two-way arrow generally means making something bigger or smaller. and a four-way arrow, which I don't think I can show you here, but let's try it on this one. A four-way arrow, what does that mean?
Move.
Sorry, go ahead, Lori.
Isn't it move?
Yes, it's move.
Yeah.
Move. So if I see a four-way arrow and I click, and I keep my finger on my mouse and I drag, sure enough, I can move things. That's really the same as we see in a lot of other tools, right? Google Slides for sure. I think probably true with Jamboard, and you'll see it in Microsoft tools as well. So two-way arrow generally means you make it bigger or smaller, and you keep aspect ratio. Four-way arrow means you can move it around. And these are important because people get confused and then something disappears, right? If you don't know that you're making it, so here's another example. If I scroll over that little blue square on the end, again, I get that two-way arrow. So I can drag this and make it smaller. But if I didn't know that and I thought I was trying to move it, or I thought I was making it smaller and I actually move it, that can be very startling and upsetting. And can lead to lost things, so we don't want to do that. And first of all, let me ask: has anyone been using Google Drawing, or if you have, what have you done with Google Drawings? Before I go on talking,
I mean, I've used it really little.
really little. What did you do with it?
I made backgrounds for Flippity.
Perfect, perfect.
It's my first time.
Is your first time? Okay, good
Yeah.
to know. Liz Elaine, did I see you nodding your head that you?
Yeah, I'm like, wow. Adelia put in the chat, like she was like, oh, this is really cool to use the image of from the museum, from the Mets, right? You know, kind of bring it over here that are not public domain. But then I'm like, yeah, what a great idea, because what I do is I just snip the image, you know, kind of, and then kind of try to distract that and use it as is. But this is great because you could actually play with it and make it kind of your own.
Yes.
You don't have to deal with the public, you know, with the copyright. But I'm like, what a great idea, yes.
And similar to Google Slides. So in Google Slides, if I wanted to add a picture, how would I do that?
Mhm.
Comparing this to Google Slides, because this piece is very similar. So in Google Slides, how would you add a picture?
Would do
Insert and then search Google Images.
So there we have images, and we have the possibility of searching the web. In this case, I'm going to search the web.
Or copy paste too, right?
Say that again?
Copy and paste it?
You could copy and paste it. You could upload from your computer, but we're going to go ahead and search the web. And in this case, I'm going to, what would be something we want to look for? We can say Memorial Day, right? Memorial Day is coming up. We'll see what images they have. So just like in Google Slides, I get a long set of images here, and I can find one that I like. Let's find something that has lots of different options in it. We'll do this one. So as I clicked on it, you see that little check box shows up just like in Google Slides, and I click insert, and it puts it into my image. Now, one way I could use this here, and this is actually something I think you could do in Slides, but I'd never thought of doing it before. So there is a tool here. If you want to insert line, there is something called the polyline. And a polyline allows you to create a line that is sort of multiple vertices, right? So if I click on polyline and I wanted to outline just this flag, which a triangle would kind of do, but I'm gonna, so you see how that little cross, that's my cursor that tells me I have this polyline. I'm gonna go down, I'm gonna stop, I'm gonna go, and I have to click, and then I click again over, and then I let go, and then I click again, and now I got to make my polyline. And you could do this, you know, around a person's face or something. Oops, and then it's always hard to get out of it. Okay, so now I have my polyline and it made this shape for me. So if you want to make odd shapes, you can use the polyline to do that. It will automatically fill the object. How can I just make that object transparent? So if I want to get rid of all that color inside there and I want to see that flag, how would I do that?
Or the bucket.
Exactly, our little bucket here, right? Right now, it's by default, everything in drawings is blue or gray blue. So I'm going to go up to fill color and they very nicely give me this word transparent. So I'm just going to click on transparent. Yay, now that's transparent. I still have an outline. And the outline could be helpful if I want people to be able to see it. And in this is not the best example of what I'm talking about, but I'm going to go ahead and make that invisible as well. So how do I make the line invisible?
Similarly, you go to the line and click on it and make
Exactly.
it transparent.
Thank you. So as you scroll over these, they actually tell you what they're for, right? So that's fill color. And now we're going to scroll over this one. It says border color. So I'm going to change the border color also to transparent. So now when I click here, oops, and I want to get rid of my line, I want to go to, let's see. So one of the issues with the polyline is it just keeps going. So in order to stop having the polyline, I want to, my trick is to get out of it by moving into a text box. So we'll put a text box over here, and here we can say Memorial Day. And we can make that bigger. Give it some fun font, make it white. Now, did you notice here that there's this little thing that looks like a dropper? And I know this might be quite small. I don't think I can make it bigger. Do you see that little symbol? What do you think happens if I click on that?
Fills in the color.
I get to choose a color. So I have all these colors to choose from, but I want the color to match exactly this person's sweatshirt. So I click on the dropper and I come down to where that sweatshirt is and I click there, and now my letters are the same color as that thing is. You'll see that dropper also exists over here. So your fill color could also be a color that you pick from somewhere else in your picture. And that can be helpful to hide things as well as to just make your image prettier. So, okay, we know that this has a outline and is a little shape, but no one else can see that. Now, if I click here, I want to link to something there. So I'm going to under insert link. Yes. So here's my link. Now, first of all, I want to go out and I want to find history of the American flag. And we'll pretend that I very carefully decided this was the best thing I wanted to share with people. So that's the work, really, is deciding on what the content is. I'm going to copy that link. I'm going to come back to my slide or my drawing. I'm going to click on, so I still see it's highlighted, right? It has that blue outline. I'm going to go to insert. I'm going to go to link. And I'm going to go to view and apply. Okay, so looking here, it doesn't do me much good. If I'm moving around on top of here, all I see are that four-way arrow. Even if I scroll over here, I don't see that there's a link there. But now I'm going to download it as a PDF. And I'm going to stop sharing for a second because I need to show you the PDF, and that will come up in a different window. So one moment. Where did my PDF go? Sorry, one second. All right, sorry, I had to go get it from the download folder. Okay, so now I should be able to share it with you. All right, so now we have our image, which I downloaded as a PDF. I can see Memorial Day in pink and purple was not so helpful, but notice what my cursor is doing as I scroll around and I come over here towards that flag that we put the link to. Do you see that it changed? Let me do a Control+ here and see if we can get it bigger. Yeah, it's not making it bigger. Oops, too big. So as I scroll over that flag, do you see that my cursor becomes a hand? And if I click there, I go out to that website. So you could create a document. If you remember, HyperDocs or Escape the Room kind of games where you might have had a slide and you had a bunch of links that would take people out to websites. This could be done that way. It's the way that they suggested it doing it. The person that I found had done something like this. It's invisible to you. You have to just scroll around to see where could there possibly be new information. Like maybe there's information over here about this band or whatever this building is. So you'll see, I'm going to stop sharing again so I can go back to my, in fact, I'll stop sharing and see if there are questions because I saw there was a bunch of stuff in the chat. Let's see here.
So if you click on the picture, it will send you directly to the link for that.
You have to find exactly, so the tricky part is it's only where I made that little outline.
Oh,
So you move around on top of the picture. I'll share one with you and you can go play with it and you'll see. But so you have to kind of scroll around and find where your cursor suddenly turns into a hand. And that's a clue that you can click. And this is actually not bad for digital skills. This is actually typical across the internet that a link, as you scroll over it, does something different than all the other things that are not links. And if you're not familiar with that, that's very surprising, right? I mean, we're used to looking at a book and nothing changes. So suddenly to be on looking at a screen, how would you know that that was a live link? We have some ideas. It's a different color. It's underlined. In this case, the idea is that objects could also have be a link out to something. And you could do it for your students. Of course, students could do this as part of their end project. They could have a photo of their family. And when I was trying to think of useful ways to do this, it seems to me the most useful way is something where the links are going out to information on the internet. So I don't know that clicking on family members makes sense. So maybe more about maybe your hometown or your, so that you could have a map and you could have links that would click out to certain things in the town. And the act of making that shape. So again, I don't think, what I did was the one I made was the Statue of Liberty, and I just made a big giant triangle using the triangle shape and put that over the Statue of Liberty. And then you don't have to deal with the polyline thing. But the polyline thing, a lot of good practice, fine movement, very frustrating because I know when I made it the first time, halfway through it stopped. So it didn't make a full shape. It was sort of just a weird random line. And that's very frustrating. But those skills are that's very much about mouse skills, right? Knowing when you're letting go of which left or right and knowing how to move to kind of get what you want shaped. I'm looking at the chat to see if there's anything we need to follow up on. So yeah, I mean, Adelia, you mentioned the paintings from the Met. So you bring in an image from the Met. It could be leading out to historical things, information that the picture represents. And do you think you could do that in Google Slides or Jamboard? I don't think you could actually. I think all of this is there. I just never thought of it. I had never had that idea. So we kind of did it with the Escape the Room. I don't know if any of you played that kind of game where we would have a slide, and it might be a room, and there were lots of different objects in the room. And as you clicked on, you would have to scroll around and find objects. And as you clicked on them, you would get hints, and then you would solve a problem. So this could be done in a very similar way to that. And Jamboard too, right? So there's a definite overlap. The thing I'm still feel like is the biggest difference is this translucent or transparent background, which is, as a person who's often looking for images with a transparent background, kind of makes me excited. So the activity I have for us today is to go and make a logo. Very common that when you make a logo, you want it to have a transparent background because you're going to be using it across different kinds of materials, different color backgrounds. So you have to think playfully of a company that you want to have. And you know, it could be anything, your favorite ice cream. I did one for a roller skate earlier, whatever you want it to be. So think a little bit about the company that you want the logo to be for. You have to come up with a name for your company. And think about an image or fonts that you already know might be good representation for that company. And then we're going to go in and I'll demonstrate one, and then you're going to have like 10 minutes to go make one, and then you can share it back if you want to. So let me get us back to my slides. So if I was doing this, I'm going to go and create, I'm just going to get rid of this one actually. So here's we're basically back to the new canvas. I'm going to go ahead and give it a title. This is one place where you have to, if you don't give a title, it will just be called Untitled Drawing. It doesn't grab the name from anywhere else. So I'm going to call this Nell's logo. And I'm going to make a logo for very, very fancy shoes. A very fancy shoe store. I'm going to start off with my images because I just think that's a fun place to start. So I'm going to go, where am I going to go? I'm going to go to, now we talked about insert. Notice, is there anything in our ribbon that already lets me do images? Yes, that is one of the shortcuts. So you don't actually even have to go to insert. From the ribbon, you can insert an image. I'm going to search the web. I'm going to put in, oops, sorry, do that again. I'm going to do cowboy boot. All right, so we're going to say, now here's the issue, right? This image is not going to have a transparent background. So this image is going to come in however it is. I kind of like this one. So that'll be solid. And it's pretty big, so I'm going to make it a little small. Well, here's my deal. I can keep it this big. I can make it smaller and make my canvas smaller by shrinking that, however you want to do it. But in the end, you do want your logo to take up all the space. So you have the option of making your image and your writing big to fill it, or you could go smaller and then make the whole thing smaller. And this only shows up when I'm clicked on the background. So I could shrink this down and make a horizontal one. So again, consider, do you want to make a square or a rectangular one or a round one? I'm going to stay with the big canvas. I'm going to make this big, and mine's going to end up being kind of a square. So I have my image, and now I want to have some writing. So I'm going to, now I can click again from my ribbon, the text box, and I can make a big text box here. And I'm going to call this Nell's Boutique. And the fun thing now is to go up here and change my font. So when you're looking at fonts, wherever you've saved, if you've added new fonts anywhere else in Google, they'll show up here. Notice you have a more fonts option up here. So I have a lot of wacky fonts because I've spent a lot of time in the more fonts area. If you click on more fonts, there are a lot. And you just click on the one you want to add, and it will go into your list of fonts. So when you look at my list of fonts, it will be different than yours. And I'm pretty sure I have some cowboyish ones. So I'm going to look for that. I don't remember what it's called. Ewart. There we go. And I'm going to make that much bigger. So in fact, okay, so that's getting too big unless I can move this out a little bit. There we go. So I do want to make my picture smaller and have that kind of fit beside it. And one of the things, and I don't think it's going to happen in this font. So one of the things that drawings does give you the ability to do is to color specific parts of images, which is a little different than what I've seen in some other in slides and in Jamboard. But so I'd love to color these, but I'm going to just make them a different color. So let's go to my font color and let's keep in some theme here. So I'm going to click on that little dropper again, and I'm going to pull out maybe that peach color. It's a little hard to read here, but I'm going to put it on a black background later on. So I'm going to say that that's okay. Okay, so I'm going to make this smaller. The size I want it to be, right? So I want it to have kind of an even border. And as I shrank it, it made the whole thing bigger, but it all kind of fits. And I'm going to save it, or I'm going to download it. And here's what's important. If you want to maintain that transparent background, you have to download it as a PNG. So I'm going to download it as a PNG. And I'm going to do magic in the background because I'm not going to stop sharing for a second. I'm just going to go get it. So it went into my download folder. So I'm going to go to my download folder and I'm going to grab it. And I'm going to, so after you've created your logo, I want you to share it with us on a special slide that I made. Let's find it. Oh, not the preview, sorry. So you'll see there are, I think, 4 different colored slides. You can choose which one you want to put your logo on. My peach one, I think, might look really good here on this purple one. So I'm going to drag it over. And there's my logo. And it's transparent. And then if I make it a little smaller so other people can fit their stuff on there, there's my very fancy logo. So now it's your turn. So I have an actual, this is where you want to go. I'm going to put it in the chat. Maybe. Okay, so this is a drawing. You're going to make a copy of it. When you click on it, it's going to take you to this drawing. And you're going to go up to the corner and go to File, and you're going to make a copy, and you're going to call it your name. And then you're going to basically follow these, and I'll put a slide up on the screen so you can, because at some point you're going to want to delete this so you can use this as your canvas. But the steps are to open the Google Slides so that they're sitting over there waiting for you, because again, you're going to delete this at the end, but I'll put that link in the chat too. You're going to think of the name of your business. You're going to think of images that could possibly represent your business. You're going to find the image and insert it here. You're going to insert a text box and type the name of your business. You can change the colors as much as you want. You can change the shape, the size. If you don't want to use images, you could use shapes and make your own drawing instead of grabbing an image in the world. Or maybe you have an image in the world that you want to use and you can put that here too. You're going to delete this by clicking on it and just hitting backspace and the whole thing should disappear. Remember that you want to download it as a PNG. And then it's going to be in your download folder and you can just drag it and drop it into our slides, or you can go to the slides and import it and insert it into the slides, but we'll get to that when it's time. Are there any questions? Because it's a lot, but the key here is for you to go in and just click around. You cannot fail. And if you have trouble, you can ask, but I'm going to give you 10 minutes. It's 4:44. So you have 10 minutes and then we'll come back and look at what you did and you can let us know where, you know, you had struggles or where it worked well for you. So the link in the chat is to this. And then let me also give you the link to the place you will go to place it there. So slides for sharing your logo. And I'm going to stop sharing, and if anybody has any questions, but otherwise just dive in there.
Yeah, I have a question. Why did you suggest to download it as PNG?
So the PNG allows you to keep that transparent background. If you download it as a JPEG, I think you will lose that. You'll end up with a white background, which is also perfectly fine. And you might want a version that's a JPEG as well, but you want a PNG version will allow you to keep that transparent background.
Okay, thank you.
No, it's a great question.
Mel, may I just ask, why did you suggest, I mean, instead of the insert image, what did you suggest?
To insert the image into the slide, into the drawings.
Yes, but you said, oh, you could go to the ribbon.
Right, so when you go, so it's a shortcut. It's just for efficiency's sake. So under the insert tab, you definitely will see insert image. But when you look at the ribbon, it gives you two inserts, easy access, which is insert a text box or insert an image. So it's just a shortcut. It's one less click. So there's nothing wrong with going to your insert box, but they did pull that stuff out into the ribbon to try to make things easier for you. So if you
Okay, so what's the ribbon?
The ribbon is that long line of little images.
I got it.
Okay, you got it. So
Thank you.
you're very welcome. Anybody else? Any questions? You're all in there making your logo. You're going to be famous people soon, multimillionaires. And I think this is an activity you could do with students, right? So not only may they have their own business and they could make their own logo, but just, again, the physical, digital skills and thinking about it. I mean, how fun is it to think about a different you who has a business of a different kind? Could be a teacher. So I'm here, just unmute and ask questions if you have them. Otherwise, we're going to go till 4:57. And then I'll start talking again. Danya, is your hand raised? Or that's from before? That's fine. Just wasn't sure. So I just put up this slide that has the directions for our activity. But the links are in the chat.
Now, where are we supposed to upload?
There is a link in the chat to the slide deck. It's this one, the Google Slides, and it looks like this. So I see a few people have theirs in there. So let me put that in the chat again. Right, so this is the slides for sharing your logo. And I just dragged and dropped, but like I said, you can start by being here and then inserting image, upload from computer, and then go find it. And the key is to think about which of these backgrounds would it look best on, based on your colors. Because I had that peach color, I knew a dark background would be particularly nice. But if you have black writing, this might not be the best one. It might be better to put it on the yellow or the white. And we can have multiple on any of the slides. You're also welcome to add slides, but think about what color background you want. We're playing with the idea of the transparency, so having a colored background is part of the joy. So you can add. Yep, go ahead.
It doesn't matter what computer you have to do this. Is it going to have the same format? Because I typically know if you use an Apple desktop, it's usually different from HP or Dell.
So I'm definitely doing this all from a PC perspective. Most of the things that I'm suggesting are going to be very similar, but I cannot guarantee. I think you should be able to drag and drop from your Mac still to the Google Slides. And everything inside Google should be the same. We're going to look at some keyboard shortcuts, and those are different, but they're very related. So Command, yeah. So let me know if you're having struggles, and there might be other people using Macs who can also tell us if they've found differences.
No, I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, go ahead.
Oh, no, you know, go ahead. You finish.
Just a question, because I did open the Google Doc slide that used to open, right? And when I went in there, I know I'm supposed to look at the ribbon. I don't have the option for that. So can I make a separate Google slide and then just drag it to this?
Sure, if that works better for you. Notice the ribbon should be there. If it's not, sometimes it's not there because you get this little caret, right? And this little upward facing arrow. If I clicked on it, it's going to hide my menu. To bring it back, I would do Control-Shift-F. And on a Mac, I think that would be Command-Shift-F probably. But yes, that is a great solution. Yes, Command-Shift.
Okay.
But your solution's a great one. That's fine.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. And someone else had a question?
So that after we're done with our business logo, we just download it as a PNG, or is it?
Correct. Download it as a PNG, and then it will sit on your computer, and then the next job is to get it from your computer back into these slides that I'm showing on my screen right now. Does that make sense? And there are two ways to add an image to a slide, at least two ways. One is from looking at the slide and going to Insert, Image, Upload from my computer, and then go find it. Or you could have your folder where the photo is open and drag it and drop it onto the screen, and that will also work. Drag it and drop it into a slide. Does that make sense? Does anyone need me to demonstrate? And as I said, it's fine to have more than one logo on a page. You're absolutely welcome. I love seeing all these ones that people have added. That's totally cool. But it's also fine to have them on the.
Sorry, Neil, how do you download as a PNG then?
Okay, so when you're looking at your logo, you're going to go up to File, and you have the option of downloading. And when you look at the download options, the third one down is PNG.
Okay, great. And so that's
can
just
also do
for
SVG.
both the image and the text?
Yes, so if I click download, it's going to download this whole rectangle, everything on this canvas. If I made this canvas really big and the writing was really small, and I think maybe I saw someone had this issue, right? You'll end up with the big outline, which will be invisible because it'll be transparent. But yeah, so that's why you want to make your your whole canvas as small as you can so that the logo is really filling it up. And then when I say download as a PNG, down at the bottom here, I see that it says Nell's logo. And I also know it's going into my downloads folder. So when I go look at my downloads folder, I'm going to see it in there. And it's going to be given the same name as this file name up here. So whatever you called it, you will see that as a downloaded image.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So if you don't give it a name, it'll be called unnamed image or something like that. So you'll still know what it is. But anybody else? Questions? Let's look at our slides. Oh, someone went ahead and put that in the name of the whole thing. I love that. Okay, so let's look and see what we've got going on.
Oh, that's mine.
Which one was yours?
Migration.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, because I'm doing that for my students today. So that's the cover of my slides.
I love it. I love it. So in this case, I only say it didn't matter that it was transparent or not, but that's totally fine, right? So if you, and the only thing I'll say about that is I could make what you did, I could probably do in my slides. I've never been able to fit in Canva.
Yeah, you're right.
I figured out how to do the transparent background, but that's what makes me excited. Okay, this person, I have a feeling you didn't download it as a PNG. And that's why we end up with this background that's checkered, if that makes sense. So the checkered background indicates that it's transparent, but if it's the wrong file type, then it's no longer a transparent background, it becomes an actual checkered background. Does that make sense? Delia, was that you?
What was the font that you use now? I couldn't find it.
What was the
No,
what?
I didn't answer that question.
The font?
The font that I used?
Yeah.
If you go into the fonts area, so let's get back to, and as I said, the fonts are going to be there. Let's see, I'm going to insert a text box to get that going. So we're going to do a text box here. So once I have a text box going, that's when I'm going to see the ribbon, for example, with my fonts options. And so if I click on that arrow down, the font I use is called Ewart, and you could find it going to more fonts, and you can type in Ewart now that you know what it's called. Otherwise, you just have to scroll through all of them.
Yeah, because I was looking for it and I couldn't find anything that resembled that one.
Yeah, so then it's a really long list of fonts, and it's not alphabetical. It's a very complicated system that they have. But once you find the font you want, you click on it, and you should get that little checkbox, and then you add it to your.
All right. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So this was you, Odelia?
I'm struggling with how to get this. I'm on a computer I don't usually use.
That's fine.
I don't know where these things are downloading to.
Gotcha. Okay. Let me think if I have any tips for how to find.
I'm looking, I'm looking for download in the PC.
Right. So let me stop sharing. I'll just share my screen and I'll show you what I see my stuff. So when I download, let me do it for you I'll do it with us all together here. So if I'm looking at my logo and I say that I want to download it as a PNG, we see that it pops up down here. But then when I look down in my taskbar, so this bottom bar where I see all the apps that I'm using, I have a folder app, a folder image.
Okay.
And when I click on that folder, now you also could try typing it in the search, but when I click on that folder, I get a list of all my folders, and downloads is near the top. And if you were already in your downloads folder, sometimes it doesn't update. So I click on another one and then I come back to downloads and oh, look at that. I've downloaded my logo 3 times. So that's how I found it. But if I know the name of it, I can also go down in the search and type for Nell's logo. And it should pop up.
Okay.
And I think from there, I should be able to drag it over. So let me go back to our shared space here. And is someone doing this inside the slides? Because this is the issue with slides. Sometimes when you insert these pictures, you, like I said, you get them as files that are not PNGs, which is very kind of annoying. So if I now drag from here, and I clicked on it, left clicked and holding down and dragging, 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 and dropping. It dropped it in there for me.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Haven't found it.
So I'm still a little confused. Is this you, Odelia, or is this someone else who's putting in these images on this slide? Because
I'm putting in the leaping people.
okay, so the leaping people, did you first put them into a drawing?
No, I just did a downloadable PNG.
Okay, so the first step is actually to put this image into your drawing, because that's how we keep that background. So I made my logo in this drawing file. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you would actually want to download those images into here, and then your writing or whatever else you want to do. And then this is the image or file, I should say. This is the file that you're going to download as the PNG. Anybody else struggling or want to show something? I'm going to look at all the beautiful logos that we're seeing here. So we have Kitty's unique birdhouse. So again, this is fantastic. It doesn't really utilize the transparent background, but that's totally fine. But you see the difference, right? So the difference with what I did here is that you see the background through the lettering or through the writing. And that's one of the things that drawings gives us that is actually very difficult to do in slides or in Jamboard. So it was one of the things I think that really stands out to me about drawings. These are beautiful, right? What you did, Lori. And whose is this one? This is Kitty's, I'm guessing, right? So both Kitty and Lori made beautiful images, but these images without the transparent background could have been made using those other tools, which is all fine. And I think the key here is to realize which tool you like the best, which takes playing with them a little bit, right? And I don't know how many of you, if I asked you to create, like I send packages to my sister in Seattle and I want to make a mailing label for her, I make that mailing label using either slides or PowerPoint because I know very easily how to make a graphic and put in an address and change the font. But now I'm like, maybe I could use Google Drawings, which I would never have thought of using before. So this is part of what going in there and playing with it is like. Here we have Christian. So here we have a nice transparent background behind the writing. So taking advantage of that. Lulu, I love that pink on that green. That's fantastic. So we have Lulu's Bakery, a nice picture of food. So our images are often not going to be able to take advantage of the transparent background, but the writing is primarily where we're going to see that. So this is fantastic. Sweets to make you happy. I'm happy. Just look at it. Fantastic. Fantastic bakes, counterfeit paintings. Very nice. Someone's going to get rich. And Danya's refreshing coconut bar. What a great image too. And again, we see that transparent background behind the writing. Professional workshops. This is a great workshop by Leslie. Beautiful. Again, this is one that is not taking advantage of the transparent background, but still beautiful image.
But one thing I noticed, no, is that it was a bigger image in Google Draw, and I made it smaller. But when I downloaded it as a PNG, it didn't come in with the transparent background.
So when you looked at it in drawing where all of this white stuff is, was that checkerboard? Or was
No,
it-
no.
Yeah.
In draw, it was bigger. Like the background, I
So-
could see the grid in the background.
So this is a great point. So when you click on the image, I can see that you have transparent background,
Yes.
this whole frame.
Mhm.
So you did, in that sense, you did take advantage of it. The only issue is that when I don't click on it, I don't know that. I only know the white outline. So it's not wrong or right, but so you definitely kept some of your transparent background in there, but it really acted just like a frame that's invisible for us, right?
Yes.
And that's true for all of these. When we click on them, you can see very nice, tight line. So if I was trying to put this on my letterhead or my business card, this image would be very easy for me to put right up against the edge and not have any wackiness. So that's one of the reasons you want to resize your image before you download it. Again, very nice, but not totally even, right? So you might want to make the border even. And this is one reason we sometimes try to make the writing the same width as the picture, or, you know, those are some things that people do partially to help make it a very clean, close, small, you know, very tight to the image outline. So I'm seeing a few here where maybe I would do a little tighter, but again, nothing's wrong, right? These are just different things that to pay attention to. So this is a big one, right? This is one that looks to me like the canvas was not made smaller after you finished your logo design, which is, yeah, not wrong, but ultimately for the finished product, you'd want to, in your drawing on that canvas, you'd want to pull the canvas in so it was really close to that set of images.
Yes,
Oh,
I messed up.
no, it's not. I mean, it's not a messing up, right? And you can do it over and over again. This is
Yeah.
yeah. But you see the skill sets that we're looking at. So if you were to do this with students and they were making their own logos, those are things you'd want to, you know, draw their attention to. And some of that is maybe drawing attention to it before they even start, or at least outlining those things as being goals or part of the kind of rubric. Excellent. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. So any experiences there that you want to share? Oh,
Can I want to share something.
yes.
So while you were talking, what I did was I took the slide that I made and I figured out that I could publish it, take the link and use it as a background to any of the slides.
Fantastic.
It's
Amazing.
kind of cool. Kind of
Yeah,
cool.
It's very, very cool. So that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Story. I love it. I
Yeah.
love playing around. Anybody else? Anything you noticed? Anything that was difficult or that really resonated with you and you're like, oh, I'm going to go play with drawings all weekend?
I have a question.
Yes.
How would you use that as, and if you want to like print it out as like a business card or something?
So, I mean, you have a couple of options, right? So you can, here's my cheating way. My cheating way is probably to take that image and put it into slides or some other graphic tool, and then you can place it where you want. And you basically just are trying to make a file. Now, you actually could just, so if you go to Staples or any of those kinds of companies where they're going to make the business card for you, you would just share that file with them and they would place it on the card for you. And you might even want to, in the drawings app, put all the content in there that you want. So you have your logo, include the logo, but now you're going to add another text box that has your phone number. And so maybe we could turn this into business cards instead of doing your logo, right? So you do your logo first. Now you could go back to that drawing and make that into a business card right there in drawings. Again, make the drawing background as small and as close to the size that you want it to be. Download it as a PNG because that's a very good quality file. And most of those graphic folks can handle that. And then you could go to any company or even print it on your own if you have those templates for making your own business cards. So yeah, I could do it. I think I would do it all in drawing now that I know drawings.
Yeah. No, I thought drawing would be more challenging to use, but it's not really, no, not at all.
And we're using it for this purpose. I will say, there's a woman that I love. We have tips from her in our slides, Melinda from California, and she makes her own graphics in things like in drawings. And I just don't have the patience to do that. So she could make, something that would be like a 3-dimensional ball by using special coloring and stuff like that. So you could get really, it has a lot of potential as a graphic design tool. I would say that I would spend more energy in Canva at this point for that kind of stuff. But I think as far as practicing Google skills and having something come out of it, drawings really gives you a lot. I do want to give you a couple of other examples, but if anybody else has comments, just keep them coming. Yes, go, Samri.
Well, I think I did everything right, but when I needed to transfer it into the slide, I couldn't. I dragged it. I also tried copy and paste, but it asked me to like download the application. I'm using
So, did you see it? Is it sitting in a folder, like in your download folder or something?
Yeah.
Okay, so
And it's also like I downloaded it like a couple of times.
yes.
And when I open it, I can also see a QR code, and I downloaded as a PNG.
Okay.
So
one thought is to do it the other way, where you go to a slide. Let me add a new one, and we'll give it a background color.
and I don't know if I did something wrong, but because I didn't do it on the slide that you sent us.
You put it somewhere else.
Yeah, I opened another Google Drawing.
Oh, and you're trying to put it into another Google Drawing?
Like
So you tell me your steps. You made it in Google Drawing.
Yeah.
And then you downloaded it as a PNG.
Yes.
And it's sitting on your computer. You can see it as a file in your download folder.
Yes.
And then from there, you were trying to move it or put a copy of
Drag
it
it. Mhm.
into
I
my
tried to
files?
copy paste, I couldn't, and then I tried to drag it, but it didn't.
So if dragging doesn't, so copy and paste won't really work from the file often. So the third option I would suggest trying is coming into this set of slides, which the link is in the chat, and then going up to insert,
Mhm.
and then image, upload from computer.
Okay.
And from there, you're going to search for it. So I can see here all my options, and I'm going to go to my downloads folder. And sure enough, there I can see, this was a logo I did earlier.
Okay. Let me
And
see.
open, and then it
If that
pasted it.
works. So open this. Go to insert.
So when you're in here, go to insert, and then image.
But image is gray. I don't know why.
Are you clicked into one of the slides? You have to be clicked in. Like,
Oh, okay. I have to click on one of the slides. Okay.
Yeah, you could click in the.
Yeah. Okay.
Once you do that, you should have the option.
Like I'm clicking on the last line.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay, insert.
Image.
Yeah, but I still see. Okay, I'm gonna click again.
So don't click on my logo, click somewhere else in the slide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm clicking somewhere else. When I go to insert, for some reason, image, it's not letting me choose image.
In the ribbon, do you see that little insert image? Are you seeing that as a possibility?
Let me see. It's also insert image. Is also, yeah, gray.
Yeah. So I'm wondering if that's a privacy thing between your computer and my slide.
Okay.
Which is weird, and I don't really know how to work around it. So
okay.
I don't have a quick solution. You can, are you also in our slides for today? The session slides? Because you can also try to hear your view only though. So no, you definitely can't do it here. All right, I don't know.
I'll keep playing with it and try to figure it out.
it really feels like it's some sort of privacy issue, but I don't know what it would be, because you have edit access to my slides. And this is an artificial process, right? So
I
when-
was wondering, when you sent us the instructions that opened up on Google Draw,
Yes.
was I supposed to work on that like in there, or was I supposed to open a new?
That doesn't really
canvas?
matter.
That did,
You
okay.
could do either. That has nothing to do with this.
Because
The
when-
struggle, the struggle you're having is with a file on your
Sharing.
computer and not being able to bring it into Chrome or My Document. And that feels like a security setting of some sort, but I don't know what it is.
Okay, thank you.
So what you're experiencing has nothing to do with Google Draw. It's totally to do with taking content from your computer and putting it into Google. And that's sometimes just a privacy issue. And that's an artificial impediment to what we're doing today. So the fact that you were able to make one is the key, and you did it and I was giving you a drawing space, but you don't have to use it at all. So very good.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
May I ask?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. Oh, guess what? I did it. I I mean, having done it now, I'm with the Vegetarian Boutique for Dogs and Cats. That's where
Ooh.
my slide is. It's
Where is-
teeny, what I've learned is it's teeny tiny.
But you can
Um,
make it bigger.
How? Can I do it after it's done?
Yeah, so if I come here and I click on mine, I can just make it ginormous.
You can?
Yes, just drag it from the corner.
Oh, I didn't realize. I thought once it's done, it's done.
So what I will say is, if you make it really tiny when you make it in drawings, it will get pixelated quickly when you do make it larger in a slide. But if it's relatively large in your drawing and the file that you downloaded is a pretty large file, then you have the ability to make it as big as you want. And you'll see my image will get a little bit blurry, right? Just a little bit.
I still don't see how to change it.
Okay, so are you looking at which slide are you on? What number slide?
I'm on the one that's, maybe it's number 4.
Number 4.
Yeah.
But there you are. So if I click on this, so this is the issue because you have this giant outline around it. So back.
Well, that's not, the vegetarian person is not me.
Oh, you're this one.
Yes.
Okay, but a similar issue, right? So both of these, when I click on them, when I look at them without clicking, they look like nice little small logos. But when I click on them, I get that big space around them. And that comes from when I'm here, if I, let's see here, can I make this? If I drag down, let's make it a little bit bigger. If I drag down, it's gonna be hard for me to start over again. Let me start here. So if I insert an image.
Do you know if Google has an app to use on the phone for this, for drawing?
You can, I think you can use it. I think it'd be very hard, but you could certainly try it out. I do not know 100%, I will say that, but I think that the small screen is going to make it tricky to do some of the things that we're doing. But try it out. I always like that energy. So I clicked on my image. I'm going to insert my image. So I have two options. I can either start off by making my image so that it fills up a lot of the space here, and then put my writing here. And the key is at the end of everything, however you do it, whether you start off with a large image or a small image and you make the canvas smaller, you want to drag this.
Oh,
right?
Got it.
Now it takes up almost all the space. So when I click on it, when it's in my slides, the outline will be the edge of what you see here.
And now I
So we
understand.
want to make it as a frame in a way. Is that what you're saying
You
now?
want to make it as a frame. I mean, you can have it, you could actually have it flush with the edge if you want to. And that means when then you might as well just insert this image. But if I have this image and I put some writing over here, but yes, you want a very, very little edge. You do not want a lot of edge because that takes up, it's not useful for me to look at it. I don't get any benefit from you having a lot of space around your image, and it makes it harder for you to utilize that logo.
Now I understand.
Yeah, because I'm not,
Thank you.
because you still could make this larger, it's just, it's gonna go off the slide, right? That's the problem. Whereas if this was tight around it, then you could make this a lot larger on a slide. And again, putting it in a slide is a little bit of an artificial impediment. But if you were to send this to Staples to make a business card, they would be confused about how you wanted to place this on the card. They would be like, oh, you got a really lot of white space around your thing.
So that's the other question I had. I understand. So putting it on a slide is artificial, because what you're really trying to do, you have a one-off of something, and you're not, again, so unlike a slideshow, there's no more. This is it. This is all she wrote.
This is it, but you could do several of these. And if you were trying to make an image for your slides that really showed something that is hard to capture in another way, you could do that in drawings and import it into your slides, and it could take up the whole slide. The logo, sharing a logo on slides is what I think is artificial here. The logo you would probably use in different ways. You would put it into your documents. You would have it maybe in the header of your document. You might put it on a business card. You might put it in your signature line on your email, right? Those are natural places we would have our logo. Putting a logo in I mean, we do tend to put our logo in our slides, right? Like if I look at my first slide here, we have a logo here, we have a logo here. If I click on them, you'll see, oh, I guess they're inserted there. What's going on? That's not showing you what I wanted to show you, but usually, and it's true here. Yeah, so there you go. You see how close that line is around the very edge of your logo. You want, on a logo, you want that. If you were just making an image that showed an elephant and you could have writing with arrows pointing to the trunk and the arrows pointing to the feet, that could be however you want it to, but generally whatever your image is that you're going to download from drawings, you're going to want the canvas to be close to the edges of that, to make that image more usable, because then you can move it around, you can make it bigger and smaller, and whatever document you're going to use it in. Does that make sense? So those were really good questions though, and I think good discovery for us. All right, we're going to run out of time. So the other examples you'll see here, this is the one with the Statue of Liberty. If you go to this link, you'll see the drawing, and I'll also put a link in here to the PDF where you can actually click on the Statue of Liberty. This was a scavenger hunt where kind of like, I think this reminds me of Jamboard. I might do this in Jamboard, but you have these little word, if you go to the document, wherever there's white writing, you can click there and change the writing, but everything else stays the same because it's one big image in the background. This Venn diagram, I didn't have any idea how you could make like a transparent circle on top of another transparent circle, but I do now, and I did put that into our resources. So you'll see here, Google Drawing tutorial, how to design a logo using Google Drawing for infographics. This is that scavenger hunt. Maybe I didn't put the one about the Venn diagram. I'll find it and I'll put it back in there. I will say that Applied Digital Skills lessons, there are actually 28 of them that include drawing. So if you're really loving drawing, but you want a little bit more structured learning about it, or ways to use it maybe with students, definitely go check out Applied Digital Skills. You see it's a lot of things, right? Design an infographic, design a poster about you, digital badge. And what did I want to show you? Oh, so AutoDraw is another, it's a game basically from Google where it's AI. So if I click on this, it wants to learn. So it says draw a toothbrush in under 20 seconds. Got it. Okay, so now I draw a very sloppy toothbrush.
I see shoe. Oh, I know. It's toothbrush.
Yay! Okay, draw yoga. What? I don't know that I know how to draw yoga. So I'm going to do a person.
I see circle.
And their legs are going to, this is not going to work.
It's yoga.
What? Okay. So you can have fun with that if you want to. Oh, I kind of want to do the owl.
I see water. 4 cup. 4 tube. Oh, I know. It's how.
Canoe. Oh,
Okay.
man.
So fun times. Now you have a lot of things to do this weekend.
Yeah.
You can be playing with AutoDraw, and you can also be making some beautiful logos and posters about yourself. I will stop sharing. So as a reminder, consider sharing some of the wonderful work that you've been doing this year. We are going to start sending out emails to individual people and requesting your amazingness to sign up, but it'd be lovely if you did it on your own. Our last session will be primarily you guys showing us all little things that you've done. Again, very happy if it's a challenge. Maybe it didn't work. Maybe you need more input or you have new ideas. Those are all the kinds of things we want to see. We're going to take a couple of months off, and then we'll start Google Club again. We will have a survey next time to help ask you for topics that you would like us to cover. Be as explicit as possible. We can go deep into some things. We can also do general, but it's helpful for us to get a sense where you are with all your stuff. And I feel like that's it. And we'll also have an evaluation. We're doing like a quarterly evaluation, so
Yeah.
we'll do an evaluation at that session.
So be expecting harassing emails, like,
Yes,
please present
yes.
the show and tell. So we're gonna
Yes.
get in that. I would love for you to do that.
Fantastic. Any last questions? Yes. Oh, and I didn't go over it, but if you go to the slides, there is a slide where I learned that if you do control slash the slash that goes from left to right, it gives you a list of all the keystrokes. you
Huh.
can use. Yes. I don't know if this works elsewhere, but it works in drawings.
Oh,
And-
that's great.
Yes, and also Control D is duplicate, which I never knew before. So those are my two big takeaways today was that, what? I can make the exact same circle 50 million times by just doing Control D? Bring it on. I'm very excited now.
That's cool.
So go check it out. Always happy to hear from you if you're having questions, if you did something amazing, if you're having, you're struggling, send us emails. We're very happy to talk. We look forward to seeing you in June and have a very nice rest of the week.
Thank you, Nell.
Thank you, Nell. Have a wonderful
you.
vacation.
Have a great day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
everyone. Be
Nell.
well.
Care.
A lot.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
You too,
Bye-bye.
everybody.
Bye.
Thanks a lot.
Nell, I
Bye-bye.
was able to do it.
Yay, you were fantastic.
Thank you all. Thank you. You're the best.
Thank you, you too. Bye-bye.